Hey everyone, welcome to Math Talk. I'm your host, Brian Heitzler, and today we're going to conclude our little mini-series on expressions, equations, and inequalities. If you hadn't had a chance yet to check out the other two videos, make sure you do that. But for now, let's get started on this one. We have a problem here with an inequality. It says, what is the solution to the inequality below? So inequalities are basically equations where instead of an equal sign, you have a greater than sign or a less than sign or something like that in inequality. So they're solved the same way. You just have to make sure that your symbol is in the right direction. So let's go ahead and solve this one. We have -2 times the quantity x minus 6 is greater than 8. So because we have a number outside of a quantity, we're going to use the distributive property to solve. So -2 times x, -2 times -6. -2 times x is -2x. -2 times -6 is positive 12, and that is all greater than 8. Okay? So now we just need to go ahead and get our x on one side all alone, and so to do that we subtract 12 from both sides. We have -2x is greater than 8 minus 12 is -4. All right, now we have one more step to do. We're going to divide that -2 from both sides because that'll get our x by itself. And then it'll leave us with x and 2. And so the reason I'm leaving a blank in the middle is that with inequalities, there's one thing that's different than with equations. Anytime your last step is dividing by a negative number or multiplying by a negative number, you actually have to flip the inequality symbol. So instead of greater than, it's going to be less than. It's a really important thing to keep in mind when you're dealing with inequalities, because I guarantee you that with these types of problems, if you have multiple choice, one of your solutions is going to be x is greater than 2, because they want to make sure that you're actually flipping the inequality. So we have x is less than 2, and now with inequalities, they usually will have the solution set graphed on a number line. So let's do that. And number line is basically you just have a set of numbers like 0, 1, 2, 3. And there's a key part to inequalities. Anything that is less than or greater than has an open circle over your solution number. Anything that is less than or equal to or greater than or equal to actually has a closed circle where this will be filled in. Now, because we're dealing with less than 2, we're going to go to the left. So I'm just going to shade everything over here to the left. If it was greater than, we would shade everything that's greater than 2, which is to the right. So this is actually our solution set, and this is the way it would be written as in inequality. X is less than 2. All right, let's look at another example. This time we have an equation, and we have actually some answers as multiple choice. What is the equation of the line that goes through the points 0, 2, and 1, 3? And all of our solutions to choose from are in slope-intercept form, which is nice. It makes it a little bit easier, which is y equals mx plus b. So the first thing I want to do with this is I'm given 2 points. Let's figure out what the slope of those 2 points is. And to figure out that, I need slope formula. If you're unsure of what the slope formula is, it is on your formula sheet. I highly recommend using that. And it's going to tell you that slope is equal to your second y minus your first y, or y2 minus y1, over your second x minus your first x. And so let's plug in our y and x values to figure out what slope is, so we can figure out our equation. The second y value I'm given is 3, the first one is 2, and the second x value is 1, and the first one is 0. So 3 minus 2 is 1, and 1 minus 0 is 1. So our slope is 1, which helps us a lot because looking at our answer choices, we can actually eliminate 2 of the responses. Because the slope here is not 1, the slope here is not 1, so it cannot be an answer. Automatically, we've gotten rid of half our answer choices. Now it's a little bit easier to figure out our solution. So now we know our slope. We can plug that in. We can also take one of our coordinate points and plug in the x and y value. Now when I get to plugging in values, if I have a point where one of the values is 0, like in this one, I'm pretty much always going to choose that one to plug it in because I know the math is going to be easier. Basically, something's going to cancel, so it's just easier to use. So in that case, the y is 2. the slope is 1, the x is 0, and the b is something I got to figure out. So let's keep going. We have 2 equals 0 or nothing plus b, which basically just means that 2 is equal to b, which is our y-intercept. And so our final equation is going to be y equals 1x plus 2. In this case, that happens to be option D. All right? So it's about piecing it together to find your final solution. Let's look at one more example. This one says line Q passes through the point 1, 0 and has a slope of 3. Which of the other following points is also located on line Q? So this is a different type of problem, really. We're not looking for an equation or a graph or a slope or anything like that. We're looking for another point on the line that crosses through a point and has a given slope. And so I'm going to use my knowledge of what slope actually is to figure this one out. So I have a point that's xy, an xy coordinate, and the slope or the point is really 1, 0. So I know my x value is 1, my y value is 0. And so with slope, my slope is actually 3, which is the same thing as 3 over 1. Now, one of the things I know about slope is that it's rise over run, or the change in the y value over the change in the x value. So really, I'm looking at, let's just call it y over x. It's really change in y over change in x. But I know that if my y value is changing in positive 3, it's going up by 3. So I can just add 3 to my y value. My run is my change in x, and it's a positive 1, so I can just add 1 to my x value. And then I can figure out my new point. 1 plus 1 is 2, 0 plus 3 is 3. My new point on that line should be the point 2, 3, which is option D. So when you get to problems like this, sometimes it's not about figuring out an equation. It's about using what you know about slope and things like that to solve for your other point. I hope this helps you as you get to problems like this. And as always, thanks for watching. If you feel like after you're watching my videos, you think you may still need some extra practice in the classroom, you want to take classes with us, visit our website at www.gedyes.com. It'll take you right to this website, and you can find locations and where our classes are being offered. If you live in one of our neighboring counties, you can definitely visit our website, gedyes.com, and you can click on this link down here, FDOE Adult Educational Contacts. This will list the different contacts of the adult ed programs in the counties throughout the state of Florida. So you don't necessarily have to be in Palm Beach County to take advantage of adult and community ed classes. If you live in one of these counties, reach out to these people and they'll get you set up with classes in their county. Thanks again for watching.